My name is Kenneth Rosen. I'm a freelance journalist. With the support of the Pulitzer Center, I was able to return to Iraqi Kurdistan to cover an independence referendum held by the Kurdistan regional government. It's a semi-autonomous region in the northern part of the country, and there are some 4 to 5 million Kurds living in that area alone. For many years, they've sought autonomy from the central government in Baghdad, and against the warnings of many countries, including the US and the EU, and including Baghdad, they held a referendum on September 25th to secede from Iraq. It was largely symbolic. There's nothing that could be acted on as far as seceding from the central government, to which they are now mostly tied financially and through pillars of their own society. But it signaled to the government in Baghdad that they can form a country on their own and that they desire to be a separate entity entirely. Earlier this year, I traveled to Mosul for the Atavist magazine and for Foreign Affairs to cover the end of the battle for Mosul. And during that time, I met a lot of Kurdish people who were working as fixers with freelance journalists and with different organizations who were covering the battle like myself. And they had no inclination of a referendum upcoming or forthcoming, and they had largely displayed camaraderie with the Iraqis, as it were, and there weren't any tensions at all. So when ISIS was liberated shortly before that, Masoud Barzani, the president of the Kurdish region, had announced an independence referendum, and from there it seemed to stoke a lot of the underlying tensions between the Iraqis and the Kurdish people, which was, feeling that they were different and inherently in need of their own space as far as their own governance. I was focused less on the referendum itself and more on the happenings around the referendum. I'm interested in telling the stories of families and people surrounding this sort of fight against ISIS and then surrounding the referendum, because as far as I'm concerned, it's the same thing as telling stories here, right, in the States. It's just in a more eclectic and diverse country that many people would otherwise not think to visit. I was mostly successful and felt that I had been able to define the feelings of anxiety and unsureness and tension surrounding a split from Baghdad through these families, and I'm still waiting to see what the future may hold for the Kurdish region in the north. Without the help of the Pulitzer Center, I wouldn't have been able to travel back there, and they've supported me through and through for this assignment and many others that have come out of Iraq.